Welcome. I'm here with Judy Tan of Purely Drinks. She is the founder. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. And, we got to give some thanks to Team Trex and my friend Sean from Papa Wagyu and Akari SF, Mori-san, for kind of connecting us. We went to an event together. Judy was serving her product, and, we connected from there. So,
Yeah.
Judy, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. My name is Judy, and I'm the founder of Purely Drinks. We make a fruit-infused botanical infusion that is infused with herbs, fruits, botanicals with apple cider vinegar. Has amazing health benefits. You can use it as a mixer for tonics, mocktails, and cocktails. I
We're
was
definitely going to
serving.
get into that.
Yes,
Why don't you tell us
yes.
where you're from?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually from Portland, Oregon. I
Mhm.
grew up there most of my life. I'm Chinese American. I was born in China, in southern China, in a small city called Taishan. It's actually the homeland of the first Chinese that's here in America. So there's a lot of Chinese Americans here in the Bay Area that's from Taishan. Like probably I would say 90%
Oh,
of
okay.
the Chinese here. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Something new.
Yeah.
And then, so what was it like growing up there? And, we get into food all the time. So tell us, what it was like and what'd you eat growing up?
I think I had an advantage because I think Portland is such a foodie city.
Yeah.
Um,
But how old were you when you moved here?
I moved here when I was 6
Oh, okay.
in elementary school.
Pretty young, yeah.
Pretty young, yeah. But also, I eat a lot of home cooked Chinese food at home. My mom cooked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think thanks to her, she has such a sophisticated, refined palate that I learn a lot from her. It's just like little nuances. Like she would know that bag of rice that she buys, like, oh, it's not from this year's harvest.
Oh, wow. She could tell.
Yeah, it's like the littlest things she would know. So I think growing up, watching her cook and learning from her, food has been such an important part of our lifestyle at home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did you make?
She cooked really healthy, a lot of steam dishes, boiled, stir fried dishes. We never really eat any fried foods. Very healthy, very clean, very simple. But I think she focuses on the ingredients a lot. And the thing is, my mom, it's in her generation, she knows, she goes to the market. She probably goes to the market every day, or every other day,
Yeah.
to buy the produce, the meats for just that one meal that she's cooking, or maybe 2 meals. But the idea of buying, freezing it and storing it, that's such a strange idea to her.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're doing now. We're going back to that
We are.
idea of going organic, purchasing locally. So I think with her growing up, watching her cook and just buying groceries and produce at local markets, on the street,
Yeah.
daily.
Yeah.
She'll buy something to cook for lunch and for dinner.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And that's happening, happens all over the place, all over the world.
Right.
And we've kind of, out of convenience, have changed that to trying to freeze it and do all these
Right.
weird things to them.
Yeah.
When
Exactly.
we want to go back to what you're saying is farmers markets are coming back in a big
Right.
way, buying locally, buying as close to you as possible. It's
Yep.
kind of the idea that you want,
Yep.
so that's huge.
Yeah.
And that's really cool that she was already, and
Yeah.
I think that's not out of the ordinary, but
Right, yeah.
it's what a lot of, as far as I know, a lot of Asian families do that. They shop
Right.
every couple days.
Yep.
And they come in with fresh vegetables.
Yeah.
Rice is always there. I
Yep.
mean, I grew up on rice
Yeah.
constantly. If it wasn't in the rice cooker, you
Yeah.
had to go and you better make a
Right.
pot of rice soon. But so what kind of dishes, what kind of style of cooking and
She would really focus on let's say would she steam a fish,
Mhm.
it's literally she'll buy a fresh the fish that's swimming.
Yeah.
And if it's in the tank that's not moving, she would not get it.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot that's, and then she would like pick the ones like, oh, not the eyes with like it's red.
Yeah.
Like the eyes has to be clear so it's fresh.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a live swimming fish. She would steam it and then she would make the sauce to finish it at the end. Like she doesn't put the sauce in the beginning, like after the fish is done, and then she make the oil with the soy sauce, with the salt, with vinegar a little bit, and then she'll with green onions, and then she'll pour over the fish.
Yeah.
And that's a really, I think, a popular dish in Cantonese cooking. It's just focusing on the ingredient of the fish, and the sauce is very minimalistic.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So I think I learned that from her, like with focusing really the important part of the dish is the ingredient. You don't want to mask it with a whole bunch of sauce, right? It has to be so her cooking is actually really simple. Really simple, really clean, really healthy. Like when I eat it, I don't feel heavy. I feel really good about it.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's delicious.
Was there anything you didn't like?
I actually no. Like I love my mom's cooking. Like I crave it. Now she's.
But anything in general too. Was there something
general,
that you're like, I don't eat? I just like asking that because everyone has their likes and dislikes.
I see. I think the only thing that I wouldn't eat is that like have you seen like people eat like live squid or something in their like they cut it fresh
and
then it's still moving in their mouth.
I
don't know if I like something moving in my mouth while eating it.
Right. That's kind of a hard one.
But I understand the freshness of it, right? Like
because the texture of it's still going.
Yeah, but I think the moving part. I'm not that type of person where I'm willing to try anything. Like I'm willing to try it once. But the moving part is kind of hard for me.
That can be kind of weird.
Yeah.
But part of when you're growing up, you were telling getting into sort of the history of your product, but your grandmother's a big part of everything. So why don't you tell us about that? With your grandmother.
Growing up, I watched her. She would infuse plums, like seasonal fruits we have around the house, and she'll infuse it into rice vinegar. That's what we used. And then she'll sweeten it with honey. And then we would eat the plum. Like it's kind of like pickling, preserving something. But we would eat the pickles, and then the juice from it, like would drink it. It's actually really delicious. I think part of me, like I love tart, like I love vinegar, so I love it. So I think I always have that memory of eating the plums and drinking that liquid, and then it's just always that memory. Because when I was in my adulthood, I would do the apple cider vinegar shot every morning, as many people know, for the health benefits. I mean, it didn't taste good. It's very, very harsh and hard to do every morning, but I did it anyway for the health benefits. But then at that time, I was like, starting to remember my grandmother's recipe, like what she did. And so I start trying infusing different types of fruit into apple cider vinegar. And actually that was like, oh, it tasted really good. Not only you get the flavors of the ingredient that you infuse, you get the health benefits of apple cider vinegar. And also it's more functional, by adding the ingredients you infuse.
Yeah. And then, it dates back. I was looking at some of the history of it and some of the names of what it is, like switchel and shrub, right?
Yeah.
Like, you want to give us a little history? There's the Chinese history, and then just drinking vinegar in general, right?
Right. So drinking vinegar dates back thousands of years.
Yeah.
It's been around for a long time. Different parts of the world have their own version of drinking vinegar. In the colonial days, at the heydays, they call it a shrub because back then when they didn't have refrigeration, they would preserve their fruit by putting it in vinegar. And that's how they discover shrubs. And basically it's vinegar, fruit, and sugar. But that is such a natural, I feel like, in different parts of the world, they have their own version of fermentation, right? So it's kind of the same processy,
Yeah.
but maybe slightly different based on the ingredients, the duration of the fermentation process, and kind of like the weather and, everything.
Yeah, flavor profile. It's
Right.
kind of like pickles, right?
Right,
Like everyone
exactly.
pickles a little bit different.
Right, exactly. But
Yeah.
it's the foundation is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then also, like, it was used, like, to preserve things, like preserve food back in the day when there was no refrigeration, right?
Yeah. And then they discovered it as a elixir, like, a concoction that you can drink.
Yeah.
And then they discover that vinegar is actually really good for you.
Yeah.
And there's all these amazing health benefits with it, as
Yeah.
we scientifically proven
Yeah.
with what vinegar can do for you.
Yeah. I mean, let's get into some of that. Why don't you tell us, like, the health benefits of,
Yeah, so there's so many.
Vinegar.
So,
There are, yeah.
Yeah, so apple cider vinegar helps you digest. It's great for digestion.
Mm-hmm.
It lowers your glycemic index. So before, actually, diabetics that when they didn't have medication, doctor would ask them to put vinegar on their foods before they consume it, so that it doesn't give them an insulin spike.
Okay.
Yeah, so it lowers your glycemic index, helps with digestion, absorbs lactic acid, so great for fatigue muscles. If you are working out or walking, for a long period of time, it absorbs the lactic acid in your body so that you don't get a sore. Yeah.
And then there's, I looked up some to help you
Yeah.
out too, so you don't forget. But like the blood pressure, you
Yes, increases blood pressure.
lowers,
lowers
lowers
increases
your
the blood circulation. Sorry, but lowers the blood
Yeah.
pressure. Yes.
Heart healthy as well.
Yes.
Right.
Great for
So-
heart health.
Is that more just blood flow? I guess oxygen.
Yeah, both. Yeah, I would say both. Boosts immunity. It's a great detox.
Yeah.
Because it has prebiotics.
Mhm.
So it's really good for gut health.
Do you explain prebiotics to people? Some people
Yes.
don't know what that is. They see drinks with that name on there,
Right.
with that term on there. Tell them what that is.
Yes. So I'm sure everybody knows what probiotic is because it's in a lot of fermentation foods and drinks like kombucha. So prebiotics is food for the probiotics. So actually probiotics need prebiotics to function. So basically prebiotics goes into your body, to your system, and absorb all the toxins before your body, so your body can, effectively absorb the probiotics. So you need both, which is pre and pro.
Yeah.
It needs both to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think your one of the characteristics is nutrient absorption, right?
Yes.
It helps with that.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing for that.
So that's really cool. And then the last one I was looking up is that it regulates insulin.
Yes, which is why, it doesn't give you insulin spike when you're
Yeah.
consuming food. Yeah.
Okay. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things. And so, I mean, I guess your inspiration's from your grandmother for all this, right?
Right.
Pretty
And
much.
at that time, like it wasn't, with my grandmother, it wasn't more like, oh, vinegar is so healthy. I want to drink it.
Yeah.
It's more like of a tradition and just the way, like been passed down. She probably learned it from her grandmother.
Yeah.
And from her grandmother. So I just, grew up watching her. It's like a tradition that she does. And, I learned to do it my way, where I use apple cider vinegar because at that time I was doing the apple cider vinegar shots in the morning. So in a way, I feel like I modernized it where it fits our modern lifestyle now, because, it's low sugar. Because back then, like, she didn't really think about sugar.
Yeah.
And also shrubs and other drinking vinegars is really high in sugar because vinegar is really tart. You need to sweeten it.
Yeah.
Or else it's not really drinkable.
Okay.
But with our recipe for purely, it's really low in sugar because we use monk fruit, which is a fruit that has 0 sugar content, but it tastes sweet.
Okay.
So we use monk fruit in Chinese cooking a lot, like for soups as well, for the sweetness and also the health benefits. So we use monk fruit for purely to sweeten the product, to lower the sugar content.
And, before we get right into how you got started, were you doing before? And then what caused you to start Purely? Kind of get us the history of how it got started.
Yeah. So my background, I study design in school. So I have a design degree. After college, I designed for Nike and Columbia Sportswear and Adidas, and a bunch of other design agencies in Portland. And that was my thing. Like I design, like I'm a designer.
Yeah.
I had no experience in the food industry, beverage industry, nothing.
Okay.
At that time, I think the few years of working in corporate, I knew, like I had a feeling I was just like felt unfulfilled, and I knew that working for corporate wasn't for me. So I actually quit
Yeah.
at the time. And I met so to go back, because it goes back before Purely. So at that time I met a friend, her name's Takako, and she at the gym actually, because we're both really into health and fitness and wellness. So I met her and we started working out together, and I learned about drinking vinegar as well from her, because she said her mother made it too. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's something my grandmother used to do too. So, and she's Japanese, so she is like part of the Japanese culture as well.
Yeah.
Because drinking vinegar in Japanese culture is really popular as well. So we actually, both of us, started a Japanese drinking vinegar company.
Oh.
It was called Genkisu.
Okay.
This was 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a long time ago. And at that time, no one knew what, even kombucha wasn't even that popular yet. Kombucha was so probably like in like the co-ops,
Yeah.
very small niche markets,
Yep.
not in like mainstream markets.
Okay.
It was, drinking vinegar was so niche. But there was a restaurant named Pop Pock in Portland that had a drinking vinegar drink, and it was, the
Andy
owner.
Rickers.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah.
And he had a brand named Psalm that sold drinking vinegars.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, like it was a Thai version of it, because they used, I think they used cane vinegar. I'm not sure. But what we did was, it was all Japanese inspired flavors. So we would have yuzu, shiso, nashi pear, and we use stevia to sweeten it at the time, because we didn't want any sugar in it. We wanted to be like zero, basically like
Zero sugar. Yeah.
Because we're both so health conscious, we didn't want any sugar. Yeah, and we used coconut vinegar at that time.
Okay.
So yeah, it was amazing, because we were so passionate about it. We got into, like 10 stores, into the co-ops, and then like, I think in a year we got into Whole Foods, and we were growing very, very quickly. And then we were growing, I think when we got into 100 stores, and then at that time we were like, oh, we need money now, because we were just bootstrapping it. It was just me and her. And she's like, we need to fundraise. And then it was really difficult to fundraise in Portland, because, like fundraising, like especially for food, it's not such a big space for it in Portland. So at that time I moved here to the Bay Area temporarily to fundraise for Genkisu.
Okay.
Because we actually, we had an account to get into Safeway. So we were going to be in like almost 500 stores in Safeway, and we're like, we need money.
Yeah. You need funding.
Yeah. So yeah, I moved here, fundraised for my company. We actually acquired an investor at that time, and then we got into Safeway in all of those stores, and then it did pretty well. And then they needed a reorder, and we're like, crap, we need more money.
Yeah.
At that time, but then the investor didn't promise what he delivers, so
Oof.
I know it was tough. I think there's a learning lesson in everything that you do, And that was our lesson. That was my lesson because we were really desperate.
Yeah.
We were really desperate for that funding, and I mean, we were even warned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, I'll take my risk.
Yeah, yeah. Because you want it to happen, right?
We wanted to happen for
Yeah.
Safeway. So
Yeah.
I took that risk, and it didn't follow through. So I had to file bankruptcy for Genkisu.
Oh,
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah. After that, I was still very passionate.
Is that still around 10 years ago or a little after that? Like,
A little after, like, we started Genkisu 10 years ago.
okay.
And then that was probably into it was like year 4 when I
Okay.
moved here. Yeah.
Okay.
At that time, I was like still very, very like kind of defeated in a way where like, but I still felt so strongly passionate about my product, where like I can't just let it go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think I bought it back from the bankruptcy like court. Like you can,
You
because I
just
think
buy the rights to it or
yeah,
something?
I bought
Okay.
it back. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, even though it was like worth nothing,
Yeah.
it wasn't nothing, but it was just the brand, my recipes and, the
Mhm.
assets.
Sure.
And I was like, I'll buy it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I want to start new. I'm going to start this on my own,
Mm-hmm.
do it in California, make it here, source it here, sell it here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And when did you start?
Purely.
Yeah,
I
Purely.
started Purely 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the name? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but
yeah.
how'd you come up with the name?
So my Chinese name is Ting.
Mhm.
Ting means pure in Chinese.
Ah.
And not that it's like has to do with my name or anything, but I always believe in keeping our product and ingredients very pure. And that's how I feel like I grew up, like, watching my mom cook, and everything was very simple and pure. Like, she focused on ingredients, and ingredients was like the most important part. And that's what I want for my product.
Yeah.
I want to focus on ingredients, the taste of it, and to be as simple and pure as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, and there they are. So,
Yeah.
folks, we're on video now, so it's right here. It's really cool. And then I'm sure you did the design.
Yes, I did.
So, in front of me, I have the pineapple Thai chili,
Mhm.
which is really cool. I think I tried the grapefruit at the event. I think,
Yes,
right?
you tried a grapefruit. Yeah, we
Yeah.
also had the ginger lime. I don't know if you tried that, and the pineapple as well.
I think it just had the grapefruit, but you have let's get into some of your, you've got a nice array of flavor profiles. Kind of going through them all, but also like get into all the contents of it too. So your flavor lineup, you have grapefruit, you have pineapple, ginger lime, Concord grape. Is that like seasonal or
No, yeah,
try to have that all the time?
Yeah, Concord grape, apple, we have it all the time. Pineapple Thai chili, it's probably our bestseller, as well as the grapefruit citrus that you tried.
Yeah.
We have ginger lime, also one of our bestsellers, and ginger pear.
There's strawberry shiso.
Yeah, we have strawberry shiso, which is really popular, as well as people getting to know more about what shiso is, which is a Japanese basil.
Yeah. It's just
purple.
Yeah, there's purple, and I mean there's the green
one as well. Yeah,
as well,
we
which
use the
most
purple
people
one.
know.
Yeah.
You guys use the purple one.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Key limeade.
Yeah, key limeade. We just we were the 2023 Good Foods finalists,
Oh,
and then
nice.
they're gonna announce the winner in April
Okay.
21st.
All right. Hopefully we'll see you on there.
Yes.
Cola, and then there's a booster one. Is that the immune booster?
Yeah.
which one's
So
that
we
one?
have cherry cola that was launched for the holidays,
Okay.
and then we also have chai spice pear. We also won the Good Foods Award for that for 2019.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then tell us kind of the attributes of it, and that's kind of why I was going to ask you about. So, fruit sources, like how do you source your fruit,
Yeah.
and how does it, you don't have to give any secrets.
Yeah.
Just how does the fruit get in there?
Yeah.
and-
As I mentioned, like the ingredients and the is so important to us. We source, we try to source locally as possible as we can. So here in California, like farms from California, we source our apple cider vinegar from California maker as well. And then also aside from that, like we try to source the surplus fruits as well, because we're trying to develop a program where we'll try to eliminate waste as much as possible, because the surplus, it doesn't really matter what it looks like for the infusion because it gets discarded anyway. So, having it look really nice or surplus or imperfect.
It's not necessary.
Right.
It can be bruised a little bit.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then sugar content. How much sugar is in there?
Yeah, so very low in sugar. There's 2 to 3 grams of sugar per serving.
Okay.
That's because it's the sugar comes from the fruit itself when we infuse it. Also, a little bit of cane sugar when we start the fermentation. But the sweetness comes from the monk fruit.
Nice. And then I think kind of we went through the benefits of vinegar, obviously. And then I kind of told you like all the inclusive properties you have. Why don't you explain that?
Like the health benefits?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, that's the inclusive properties. But I guess you have a really cool mission, vision, and promise. Why don't you go over those for the company? Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe that this is more than a functional beverage than just drinking vinegar. Because, it's healthy. We want to share that with the world. But aside from that, we reach small parts of the world, especially women who are, disadvantaged. So actually 50% of our team are from those areas. We work with women to provide jobs for them. So like our virtual assistant, my marketing manager, my social media manager, we reach those places to offer them jobs, to train them for our team. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then your vision and promise?
My vision for Purely is that I envision a brand, or Purely as a brand that drives a healthier, more just and inclusive world, because this is a classic that's been lost, I feel like. It's coming back. There's, more products like this. But I want this to be a cultural conversation you can start that connects all of us. It's the connections. I feel like that's so important. The connection between all of us, the community we build, the meaningful relationship we build.
Yeah, we wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for you serving those.
Yes.
So it's a perfect example. And then we can get into your promise, and then we'll get into some recipes. Tell us like what you've been making with it too.
Yeah. I guess my favorite recipe is so simple. It's basically Purely mixed with sparkling water. And there you have a healthy, delicious tonic or a mocktail. You add some garnish, it'll be a mocktail.
Yeah.
It's so simple to make because we've done the work, right? Like we've infused the ingredients, the herbs, the fruits into it already, and then so it's already sweetened. So this is the mixture that you need.
Yeah.
You just add it to sparkling water, and there you have a drink.
Yeah. It's so easy.
Yeah, it's easy and simple.
You made it easy for us.
Right.
But what are some of the other recipes that you like or that you've seen that people are playing with?
Oh, okay.
With the vinegar.
Yeah. Not only you can do, cocktail or mocktails, you can do cocktails as well. You can add different types of spirits depending on the flavor to complement it, to make it as a cocktail. The ratio is very simple. It's basically 1:1 with Purely, and then you can just, add a little bit of sparkling water to freshen it up. A little bit of lime juice or lemon juice.
Yeah. What about cooking?
Oh yeah, you can use it as a marinade.
Okay.
As well.
Yeah.
Because when you marinate, you basically have your vinegar, right? You have salt and sugar, and so this acts as the vinegar, the sweetness part as well.
And I could see like you could make it like into dipping sauces too, right?
You can do a salad dressing as well.
Yeah.
Actually, what I like to do it sometimes is that I put it on my Greek yogurt. I get like a non-fat, like plain Greek
Mhm.
yogurt, and I put that as the flavoring,
Yeah.
and it's really good. Instead of getting, a flavor yogurt that's like full sugar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. And then, that's like cooking. Do you have any favorites that you like to make with it?
I like making a salad dressing with it.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's so easy. You can replace, any type of vinegar that you already use for purely for a salad dressing. And it's like really bright. It brings out, the brightness in the salad, and also the tartness and the sweetness that you like.
And Judy has a ton of recipes. You don't have to listen to us, but like she has a ton of recipes on her
on
blog.
our blog, tons of
blog,
recipes. Yes,
different drinks, mocktails and cocktails.
Correct.
And then I've even seen like margaritas are on there.
Yeah.
I've seen someone. You have a barbecue chicken recipe.
Yeah, I do.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
So like that's really cool. Obviously the dressing. I mean, I've had it, so I know like the profile of it is gonna be perfect for a ton of different dressings.
Yeah.
Even thinking about like making like a dumpling dipping sauce or something like that.
Right. The ginger would be great. Yeah.
Ginger with like a little bit of soy and then
Right.
maybe some chili. A lot of people love chili oil, so maybe a little chili oil.
Yeah, maybe I
like
will
that.
have you develop some
I-
recipe for us.
I'll throw one in. I'll throw one up there. Anything? So we kind of big overview of that. It's up to you if you want to keep that going.
Oh.
Anything we don't know about that we should know about purely that you want to share?
What have I not said?
Maybe stuff you're working on, or anything that's going on.
We are rebranding.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go.
that's coming soon. Yes.
Okay. And this comes out in a few months anyway, so maybe
yes.
you think you'll be done by then?
It'll come out in like
Three-
3 months.
Okay.
Or so.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe might time it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're rebranding.
Yes, we're
Okay.
rebranding, and then
Do you just the look of it, or just kind of a little bit of everything?
I think at that time because I feel like as a designer, and also like designing your own brand is always you're so close to it.
Mhm.
I feel like it would be better designed if you're a little bit looking at it further away.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Taking a step back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also at that time when I designed it, it was like in such a rush, like I just needed to get something out,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel like the brand, like it's great back then. Like I still like it, but as we develop as a brand and learn about our customers, it can be improved.
Yeah. I mean, we have two sizes here. So you have a smaller one, and then you have the larger one. And then are you changing the bottle, or is it staying that way?
The bottle will stay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like there would be the whole look of it, the feeling, the look and feel of it.
That is like a vinegar looking bottle
yes,
too.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Right. It's a very apple cider vinegar
Right.
looking
It is.
cap. Even the cap is like similar to all the rest of them. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. And then kind of I get into any, Bay Area stuff. Is there anything any businesses or stuff that you've been working with that you want to shout out that's, local out here? It's up to you.
Locally, yeah, we always love, Market Hall and Berkeley Bowl. They've always been amazing markets and vendors and partners for us. Also, actually, it's called Oakland Corner. It's a great event space. Like we were just, they're going to be making mocktails or cocktails at the bar there as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So I love that event space.
Yeah, and shout out to this space that we're in.
Oh yeah. So we are currently
Podcast.
at Gate 510. It's a co-working space for for anyone, but a lot of businesses here are crafters, and startups.
Mhm.
So it's an amazing space. We met many friends and partners and colleagues here. So
That's awesome. And then any so a couple things that I like to ask, and gear wise, I love gear, and obviously this is definitely gear central podcast with all the stuff we got going on here. But is there a favorite thing that you're like, this is what I use all the time, or something that's like super useful? And it doesn't even have to be purely, it could be something, a kitchen thing. I just like, getting people's opinion on a tool that that people could use, in their lives.
Well,
That's super helpful.
a tool that I use for Purely is that it's a sprout like pour.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I just plug it in and then it doesn't drip.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So you can put it on your vinegar bottles. You can put it
Mhm.
on your oil bottles.
Yeah.
When you get it, you just plug it in and then it's like a long spout that comes out.
And then
that
just
you can pour
nice.
without dripping. Because these bottles, I feel like when you pour, it will drip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just kind of the nature where the way they're shaped. But
Yeah.
who makes that thing? Do you know?
A lot of places. We sell it on our website.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. And you guys also have a cocktail kit as well, right?
Yes,
Speaking
cocktail
of
and
gear.
mocktail.
Yeah.
kit.
Speaking of gear,
Yes.
you have a set on
Yeah,
there.
we
so,
all have all the tools if you need
yeah.
on
there
our
you go.
website.
So that covers that. Yeah, I even wrote it down. Your toolkits, cocktail bar. Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is open to your interpretation. Any
Mhm.
recipe or dish anyone should try.
Oh, you mean purely with like
With you? No, from you.
from
you.
me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And it could be with that. It could be one thing with that. It could be just a food thing that you're just like, hey, you should try this.
Well, I drink Purely like
Yeah.
literally every day,
Right.
and you just have to try just with sparkling water. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
with actually like a little tip is that add a little dash of like a squeeze of lemon or lime juice. It really brightens up the drink.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's what I drink every day.
Yeah. And we're doing good. About to close it out, but any advice, future promotions? Obviously we hear that you're rebranding, but the floor is yours. You can say whatever you want. And
Okay. Well,
Give
I want
advice
to
and-
offer, a promo for Food Origin. So anyone who's listening to this podcast, a special promo will be 20% off with the code Food Origins.
ooh, there we go. All right. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Yes.
So we will put that out as soon as the podcast comes out.
Yep.
Perfect. And then anything else, give advice, business advice. I mean, you learned a lot from starting over, right?
Yeah, no, I learned a ton. I think what advice I would give is that don't give up, be persistent, and really follow your gut. There are so many, if you haven't failed, then you haven't succeeded, I feel like, because there's no success without failure. I feel like if you haven't failed, like then you haven't learned. And there's no overnight success. You always hear people like, "Oh my gosh, like what happened to them?" But they probably been working out for like a decade. You don't know, you know, the backstory.
They only see the
right.
The
So they probably have failed many times. You just don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
So there are many failures on my journey of Genkisu and Purely. And that's okay. That's what life is about, right? It's a journey. It's not the destination.
For sure. On that note, thank you. Thanks,
Thank you.
Judy.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for listening,
having
everybody.
me.
We're out of here. Take
Thank
care.
you.